everyone. Happy Buddha Purnima. Happy Buddha Purnima. Today we will talk about another Mahavidya. I think this is an artwork of a Tantric goddess. I'm not quite sure. And we have some great sculptures as well. Devi. Here's another representation of South Asian Devi. This is an ongoing series on the goddesses in the Tantric tradition. So it opens with an homage. I will show you a picture, contemporary lithograph of Kamala Devi. Oh, this is Lakshmi actually. But yeah, Kamala also has the elephants. Let's see. 4 elephants. This is Matangi. We skipped Matangi, but alas. I wanted to talk about Kamala because she is associated with wealth, and amazingly, today one of my friends suggested a business proposal, and I was so confused because we never talked about like that part of life. We talked about almost everything else, and we're pretty close like that. Like he would crack jokes that nobody else would think of cracking, and it would always hit the spot. But yeah, today we talked about investments, and I'm like, you're the last person I would think of to start a business. So then this was like a sign for me to talk about the lotus goddess, she who has a golden complexion, beautiful golden complexion. She is being bathed by 4 large elephants who pour jars of nectar over her. Jars of nectar. In her 4 hands, she holds 2 lotuses and makes a sign of granting boons and giving assurance. She wears a resplendent crown and a silken dress. I pay obeisance to her, who is seated on a lotus in a lotus posture. Let Kamala protect us by her beautiful, wonderful side glances that delight the heart of Vishnu. She is seated on a lotus, has a smiling face, and with her 4 hands hold 2 lotuses and makes the signs of giving favors and granting assurance. Her complexion is like the brightness of lightning. Her breasts are firm and heavy and are decorated with garlands of pearls. She is resplendent like the rising sun and wears a bright moon disk on her brow. She is adorned with a crown and necklace of jewels. She is bent down due to the weight of her large breasts, and in her hand she holds 2 lotuses and 2 bunches of rice shoots. She has 3 lotus-like eyes. She wears the Kaustuba gem and has a smiling face. The name Kamala means she of the lotus and is a common epithet of the goddess Lakshmi or Shri, who is said to adore lotuses and to be lotus-eyed and surrounded by lotuses. Indeed, Kamala is none other than the goddess Lakshmi. She is usually listed as the 10th and last of the Mahavidyas. Of all goddesses in the Mahavidya group, Kamala is the best known and most popular and has the oldest tradition of worship outside the Mahavidya context. Her usual position as last in line of the Mahavidyas, which is often interpreted as the lowest in the spiritual hierarchy, is in direct contrast with her importance outside the group. Compared to Kali, who is usually named as the first of the Mahavidyas, Kamala is the goddess with almost completely auspicious, benign, and desirable qualities. As we shall see below, she is associated or identified with a number of worldly blessings that preoccupy human beings and their ordinary religious practice: wealth, power, good luck, and safety. Sports says hi, Jia says hi, I want to do Mahavidya. I think this is a bot. Anyways, the early history of Shri. Early references to Kamala call her Shri and consistently associate her with positive qualities. Indeed, the name Shri means auspicious. For example, in the Shatapatha Brahmana, she is identified with food, royal power, luster, fortune, and beauty. Her positive qualities are elaborated in the Sri Sukta, an early hymn in her praise, probably dating back to pre-Buddhist times. She gives wealth and other desired objects to her devotees, is beautifully and adorned with ornaments, and is associated with growth. This hymn also associates Shri with the lotus and the elephant, both of which became central in her subsequent history and suggest important aspects of her character. The lotus seemed to have two general meanings. First, it is related to life and fertility. On a cosmic scale, the lotus represents the entire created order. The cosmos, as lotus-like, suggests a world that is organic, vigorous, and beautiful. It is the fecund vigor suggested by the lotus that is revealed in Shri. She is the life force that pervades creation. Second, especially in relation to Shri, the lotus suggests excuse me, spiritual purity, power, and authority. The lotus seat is a common theme in Hindu and Buddhist iconography. Gods and goddesses, Buddhas and bodhisattvas are typically shown seated or standing on a lotus. This is a depiction of Christ, so that is not. Shri's association with the lotus suggests that she symbolizes a certain perfection or state of refinement that transcends the material world. It is rooted in it. Shri's elephant suggests other aspects of her character that are ancient and persistent. One of the most common representations of Shri shows her flanked by two elephants that are showering her with water from their trunks. The elephants have two meanings. Elephants are related to clouds and rain, and hence fertility. They also suggest royal authority. Kings keep stables of elephants, which they rode in processions and used in military campaigns. Kings were also responsible for bringing timely rains and for the fertility of the land generally. Their possession of elephants is probably related to that role too. Sri Lakshmi's association with male deities. Sri, also known consistently as Lakshmi, is associated with several male deities such as Vishnu, Soma. Sri Lakshmi's association with the god Kubera is yet another example of her identification with wealth and vegetative growth and fertility. Kubera is related to wealth. He is said to be the possessor and distributor of wealth and to possess and guard the earth's treasure. He is also said to be leader of the yakshas, creatures who dwell in the woods and forests and promote the growth of plants. Okay. Kamala's role among the Mahavidyas is a recent and minor part of her cult and worship in the Hindu tradition. Unlike other Mahavidyas such as Dhumavati, Bhaglamukhi, and Matangi, who are barely known outside the Mahavidya group, Lakshmi is an ancient and extremely popular goddess, worshipped throughout India in a variety of contexts and sectarian movements. Indeed, her inclusion among the Mahavidyas is not easily explained, and her place in Tantrism, the primary context of the Mahavidyas, seems somewhat out of character. It is clear that Kamala has been selectively appropriated as a Mahavidya. That is, her iconography, and her descriptions in Dhyana mantras leave out certain aspects of her character and minimize certain roles that are important in her history and cult. It is striking, for example, that as a Mahavidya, Kamala is never shown iconographically or described as accompanying Vishnu. He may be mentioned, such as the mantras from Sharada Tilaka, that her glances please Vishnu or is called the beloved of Vishnu, but for the most part he is absent. In this respect, Kamala is almost entirely removed from the marital and domestic contexts. Her central role as a mediator between devotees and Vishnu in Sri Vaishnavism is completely missing in her Mahavidya incarnation. She does not play the role of model wife in any important way, and her association with proper dharmic or social behavior is not important in the Mahavidya context. Her association with elephants persists. In Mahavidya iconography and written descriptions, she is typically flanked by 2 or 4 elephants, pouring water or nectar onto her from golden or jeweled containers. Thus, the Gaja Lakshmi motif, one of her most ancient aspects, remains central in her Mahavidya form. As symbols of sovereignty and fertility, the elephants convey Lakshmi's association with these highly desirable qualities. Here's a prince. Okay. Sovereignty and fertility. Elephants convey Lakshmi's association with these qualities, which are often sought after or mentioned as rewards in the Phala Stotras, the hymns concerning rewards or fruits that conclude many Mahavidya liturgical texts. Kamala is often pictured or described as sitting alone on a lotus in the midst of a pond with neither Vishnu nor elephants. This is to be expected in the context of Mahavidyas, where a premium seems to be put on the independence of the goddesses. For the most part, the Mahavidyas are seen as powerful goddesses in their own right. Their power and authority do not derive from association with male deities. Rather, it is their power that pervades the gods and enables them to perform their cosmic functions. When male deities are shown, they are always in supporting roles, literally where they are shown supporting Tripura Sundari's throne and are depicted as subsidiary figures. It is also interesting to note that Vaishnava connections do not dominate Kamala's incarnation as a Mahavidya. Although she is linked to Vishnu from time to time, she is rarely associated with Vaishnava avatars or their consorts, as one might expect. She is rarely identified with Sita, Radha, or Rukmini, although she is sometimes associated with Varahi and Vaishnavi, 2 of the Sapta Matrika, 7 mothers, with which group the Mahavidyas as a group are sometimes linked. In fact, Kamala in her Mahavidya form seems to be associated or identified as frequently with Shiva or Shiva's consort as she is with Vishnu. Her thousand-named hymn in the Shakta Pramoda, for example, call her Shiva Raudri Gauri, she whose bliss is Shiva, she who is the dear one who does the Tandava dance. Sati Kapali, again, this is in keeping with the tendency in Mahavidya texts to associate the goddesses with Shiva and consistent too with the accounts of the origins of the Mahavidyas, which usually feature Shiva. As a Mahavidya, Kamala also has become associated with fearsome qualities, which are almost lacking in her cult and worship outside this context. Her hymns in the Shakta Pramoda call her a fearsome name for Kali, she who wears a garland of skulls, she whose form is terrible, Bhima, terrible, and Tamashi, darkness, she who is the Tamas Guna. Although benign and auspicious qualities dominate her character as a Mahavidya, a fearsome, dangerous dimension is suggested in these epithets. Another feature that characterizes the Mahavidya Kamala but is weak or absent from her worship and cult outside the Mahavidyas is her role as a demon slayer. Outside the Mahavidyas, Lakshmi is strongly associated with both Vishnu and Durga, who are the demon slayers par excellence in Hindu mythology. Lakshmi herself, however, does not take an active part. She is witness to Vishnu or his avatars while they slay demons, or is displayed with Durga during Durga Puja when she is said to be Durga's daughter. There are female Vaishnavite goddesses who slay demons in the Devi Mahatmya, namely Vaishnavi, Varahi, and Narasimhi, but none of these is directly identified with Lakshmi in that text. Her 100 and 1,000 named hymns in the Shakta Pramoda, however, at times give her epithets that directly identify her with the demon slaying goddess Durga or one of Durga's demon slaying helpers. She is called, for example, Slayer of Shumbha and Nishumbha, Slayer of Madhu and Kaitaba. Her 1,000 name hymn also identifies her with the fierce goddess Vaishnava, Narasimhi, and Varahi. As in the Pancharatra tradition, where Lakshmi assumes a preeminent cosmic role, her name emphasize her elevated position as a cosmic queen or a transcendent philosophical absolute. She is called Mother of the World, Creator of all the gods, Mistress of all, Mahashakti, Prana Shakti, Mahamaya, she who is situated in the middle of countless universes, whose form is the creation, who is the cause of creation, who is without support. She transcends the need for support, who is the form of highest spiritual bliss, who is the three gunas, who creates all, whose form is everything, and several other designations. Kamala is also identified in these name hymns with several of the other Mahavidyas, most of whom share few characteristics with her and are notable for their fearsomeness. She is called, for example, Matangi, Dhumavati, Tarini, Bhadrakali, Mahakali, and Bhairavi. They stress her independence from Vishnu, although she is not disassociated. They connect her with Shiva. She retains her character, no doubt. She is definitely recognizable as Sri Lakshmi, but her portrait has been drawn selectively. Finally, as the last of the Mahavidya, Kamala conveys a certain relation to the other Mahavidyas, but most texts do not comment on what that relation is according to the author. A contemporary Shakta informant contrasts Tantric religion in the south, which he calls Sri Kula, with Tantric religion in the north, which he called Kali Kula. He describes Sri Kula as the worship of Lakshmi and as seeking wealth and worldly comfort. Kali Kula, on the other hand, is heroic and boldly confronts the darkness, demanding ultimate knowledge. Kali is described as a goddess with whom one must struggle, Lakshmi as one who pampers her devotees but ultimately is incapable of giving such supreme blessings as liberating knowledge. Thank you very much. That is all for today. Bye bye.